there has been this massive coordinated cancellation attempt. I've seen this happen to other good friends of mine. I was right around when Joe Rogan was going through this kind of massive coordinated effort, but it did not feel nearly as vicious, or at least as close to inciting violence as this one does. So of course, we're welcoming to the show the great Tucker Carlson. How are you, sir?
Well, I couldn't be better. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime. Obviously, you have an open invite onto this show. So a lot's gone on over the last week or so, and obviously it started. You had Nick Fuentes on your show. I had just had Nick Fuentes on my show a few weeks before that, but as has become custom, you have become my human shield once again, where all the outrage is generated toward you, but all the deaths are still my fault, as the human shield logic works. But so there was this huge show that you did with Nick Fuentes. Then Josh Hammer, as I covered on my last episode, wrote this incredibly disgusting and creepy piece for the Daily Mail about it. And then there was a big event, I believe it was Genocide Fest 2025, where the theme of the entire thing was that Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. And in fact, there were calls to cancel Tucker Carlson. And so I kind of want to go through all of this as best we can and respond to it. Let's start with the podcast that you did with Nick Fuentes, and maybe a little bit about the one I did with him as well, because I thought there were similarities between the two. And one of the things that I just find very interesting about this is that all of the neocon Zionists are insisting that you didn't see what you saw on that show, that something else happened, that what happened on this podcast was Tucker agreed with all things Nazism or something like that, when in fact, for anybody who did watch the show, what you actually heard was Tucker Carlson tell Nick Fuentes and the world that it is against his religion to hate Jewish people, or any group of people for that matter. And so it's just, there is something so, I don't know, it's just this crazy world we live in, but there's something so still to this day startling about watching someone go, my deeply held religious views are that I can't hate Jewish people. And then the response is, look, a Jew hater. So bizarre.
Well, right. And it scrambles the literal brain. And I am literal. I'm a writer, so I believe in words and their meaning. And I think they have nuance, but basically fixed meanings. And so to see someone lie or speak in a way that's dishonest, but totally unmoored from physical reality is always bewildering. And you're like, but no, that's not, I said the opposite. Right. And then you realize, of course, it's not about you or what you said. It's about something bigger. And there are a couple of things. I mean, the most obvious on a political level, this is a fight over what happens after Donald Trump. What does the Republican Party look like? Does it actually adopt an America first foreign policy as promised 10 years ago? Or does it maintain its neoconservative posture, which is very unpopular with the public and has borne no fruit? I mean, it's been a disaster on every level for the United States for, since 9/11, at least. But what happens after Trump goes? And that's what this is about. That's why they're vesting the energy in this. That's what the rage is about, because they don't want to lose control of foreign policy. I just can't say that enough. It's about foreign policy. They don't care about domestic policy because they don't care about the United States, but they do care about the U.S. Treasury and the Pentagon, the projection of force on behalf of Israel. And so that's what they're arguing about. And again, that's a very unpopular position with the public, which is why they don't say it out loud. My position has always been, I'm not ashamed of my views. I'm happy to talk about my views with anybody. I don't think I have any reason to be ashamed of my views. I think they're actually kind of moderate, honestly. They're different from the way things are operating now. And of course, I disagree with the direction the U.S. government's taking in a whole bunch of different ways, but I don't think we should burn the U.S. government down. My view, which I know is yours as well, is the U.S. government should act on behalf of American citizens. America first. Doesn't mean a bellicose posture, doesn't mean you attack people. In fact, it probably means you attack fewer people and you shed less blood. You act on behalf of your citizens. They own the government. They pay for the government. It's in their name that all this is being conducted. So that's a really simple concept. It's the most powerful, resonant concept in American politics. It brought Trump the majority of the popular vote. And I believe it. I sincerely believe that. And most people do. They don't. So that's what this really is about. As for Fuentes himself, I thought a lot about it for many reasons. And for one, Nick had attacked my family, my father, my wife, one of my children by name, a lot. And so it was hard for me to get over that. For another, as I've said a million times, I thought he was a Fed, and I thought this was part of, an op designed to tar sane, anti-neocon, pro-realist foreign policy people like you and me and Glenn Greenwald and Sachs and, but normal people tar us as Nazis. I did suspect that. I don't know if that's true or not. I raised that with him. But basically, in the end, I decided Nick Fuentes can't be canceled. They've been trying since he was a freshman in college. It doesn't work. In fact, he's gotten bigger. He is enormously talented. Anyone who denies that is lying. And he has like a not fully coherent, but a semi-coherent kind of position. And I would like to hear what it is, because that's kind of my job. And I'm also interested because he's the most influential voice for men under 30 in the United States, more influential than me, more influential than you. I don't think there's any question about that. Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about this and talking to a lot of people about it. And I think that is true. So it's not like I didn't make Nick Fuentes, hardly. I just want to know what this is about. And I wanted to make the point that I often make, and now seems even more important than it ever has, which is that virtue and sin are not transmitted genetically.
Right.
There is no such thing as blood guilt. Therefore, collective punishment is always immoral. God created each person individually. He did not create communities at once. He created people, and all of us will die and in the end face God alone. So it's about the person. And people can be changed by God, by the way. And the New Testament is that story of people who were, in the case of the whole hero of the New Testament, the human hero is a guy called Paul, was murdering Christians as a Pharisee, and then becomes the greatest proselytizer in the history of Christianity and my personal hero. So, don't tell me that people can't be changed because of their blood. Now, that is the basis. That position is the basis of Western civilization. We often talk about Western civilization, and we're all defending Western civilization. Israel's defending Western civilization. Israel does not have a Western position on this question. The Israeli position, not of all Israelis, by the way, and certainly not of all Jews, but I'm saying of the Israeli government and of a couple of its ministers, which they say this out loud all the time, is that everybody who's related to a terrorist shares in his guilt. That's collective punishment. It is blood guilt, and it's antithetical to Christianity and to the West. And so for me, and by the way, Israel's not the only country that does this. Most countries do this. Literally, most countries do this. All of Asia, India. This is like an intuitive response that people have. Russia, we're going to punish the family too because they're related, of course. Only the West, and I mean specifically the Anglosphere, Western Europe, because their foundation is Christian, reject that explicitly. Our justice system is based on the individual. People who do good things are rewarded. People who do bad things are punished. It's about the individual because that's our religion. And so I just wanted to make that point, not because of Israel or Fuentes or anything, but because that idea right there, that specific idea, is the Western civilization we are struggling to defend. And its opponents are domestic. The neocons do not believe that at all. Clearly, they're attacking my family just like Nick Fuentes attacked my family. So I just wanted to say that. I want to say that in every venue because it's a feature of my religious faith, but it's also my inheritance as a Western man, as the product of Western civilization. And that's what I want to defend. Randy Fine does not believe that. Of course, Lindsey Graham does not believe that. Of course. So the idea that I hate Jews, when obviously I don't hate Jews at all. Of course, obviously, it almost feels beneath me to say that, but it's the fact. Yeah. But I'm not allowed to hate any person because of the group he's attached to. I reject. That's what identity politics is. It's the belief that people are either better or worse based on how they were born. And that is not a Western understanding of people or of God. And that's why identity politics doesn't sit right with most Americans, even though you could make a case for it. We need to redress this past injustice or whatever. But most people sort of know that's unfair. Why is it unfair? It's unfair because it treats people as components of a larger whole, as part of a group whose individual choices make no difference. It's like, you're black, therefore you're a criminal, or you're Jewish, therefore you're bad. That whole way of thinking is evil. It's anti-Christian. And that is the true attack on the West and on Western civilization. And so I hear people like, Randy, if I were defending Western civilization, oh, are you really? No. You're its main enemy. And so Black Lives Matter, its main enemy. And not because they're black or Jewish or nothing to do with that, because the idea is wrong. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to say that every day for the rest of my life. I will die for that belief. I mean it because it's my religious belief. And it's also true.